Well, now it's officially time to begin with the Dewang Mehta Memorial Lecture, which will be delivered by none other than Mr. Keshav Murugesh. So, giving you a little introduction about Mr. Keshav Murugesh, he's a global business leader with a strong track record of turning around companies with his astute vision and strategic leadership. He was elected as the chairman of NASSCOM BPM Council in 2013, and under his leadership, the Council undertook 3 focused initiatives: rebranding BPO to BPM, building a conducive ecosystem and centers of excellence in certain niche areas like F&A and analytics. Well, not just that, he has a bunch of achievements. 25 years in the IT and BPM industry, winner of the CA Business Leader 2013 award in the corporate sector by ICAI, recognized with multiple global awards for CSR activities, contributed to the government with innovative programs such as cybercrime training for the Bombay Police, as well as establishing an unrelated bone marrow registry. Well, I hope he'll tell us more about himself and also inspire all of us. So let's give a huge round of applause for the man of the moment, Mr. Keshav R. Murugesh.
Wonderful to be here. I can't imagine that we have so many students and so many great supporters of the Indian IT and the business sitting in our midst, and it's really, really exciting. First of all, let me start by thanking Kamal Agarwal, who invited me here. Kamal, I'm here essentially because of you, and also the fact that I just love Calcutta. I worked for 14 years at ITC in Calcutta, so I just love this place. I'm also delighted that I'm actually delivering the Dewang Mehta Memorial Lecture. I just want to spend half a minute talking about what a great person Dewang Mehta was and why we do this event at NASSCOM. Dewang really was the person who positioned Indian IT on the world map, and it is absolutely fitting that NASSCOM and all of us remember him in such a wonderful way. So before I start talking more and giving you that so-called lecture, may I request all of you to put your hands together for the great effort of Dewang Mehta. Can you hear me? Well, I'm pretty certain that all of you haven't come to hear a 60-minute lecture. Anyone here who wants to listen to me for 60 minutes? Wonderful, no hands going up. So that's not my intention either. I actually object to the word lecture. Lecture sometimes means, forcing something down your throats. That's not what I'm here for. I'm actually here to interact with all the youngsters, talk to them about some of my experiences, learn from you, and really complete my opening remarks quickly, but spend the rest of my time on a Q&A session. I think it's a great opportunity for you to ask questions. Whatever I can answer, I will answer. More importantly, out here there are so many other senior leaders from the industry who are available, and they can also help me in terms of answering some of the questions that probably I cannot answer. So let's start with the topic. I mean, look at it. What NASSCOM put down here was these 3 terms: education, employability, and entrepreneurship. How many of you actually believe that these words or these terms are unrelated? Please put your hands up if you feel they are unrelated. Look, this is going to be interactive. Don't think I'm going to give a boring lecture and go away. We have to interact, right? How many of you feel these 3 words are unrelated? Put your hands up. Do you think there's any connection between these 3 words? Yeah, I saw your hand go halfway up. No? Well, think of it. If you look at great examples like Larry Ellison, Bill Gates, our own Dhirubhai Ambani, in all their cases, these three words were not related, right? Look at Mark Zuckerberg. There are so many examples I can give you of people who may not have had a formal education, right? And didn't really depend on being employed, but were entrepreneurs, created something big. So there is potential on both sides. Let me give you my own example. For me, the example and my experience has been quite different. I actually am an accountant. I completed my chartered accountancy from a small place called Vizag. And that degree actually helped me with my employment, because my first interview happened with a company here called ITC Limited. And to some extent, my degree really helped me. So to some extent, I would say education is important. But beyond that, I think the only reason that Kamal and the others at NASSCOM invited me to come and stand here and talk to such budding leaders of the future here is my entrepreneurial zeal that has actually helped me turn around a number of companies, create new businesses, create employment for thousands and thousands of people across the world, and create market capitalization at this point of at least $6 to $7 billion. I think that's the only reason I'm standing here, and I want to tell you a little bit of my story. I told you, I was doing my chartered accountancy, and while doing this CA, I actually became an entrepreneur. Now, many of you may also be, looking at becoming entrepreneurs, so it's an interesting, example. So just pay a little attention. What I did to earn a little extra money on the side was to start selling generators. I imported generators. Andhra Pradesh had no power, so it was very easy to sell these generators, make some profit. I sold sandpaper. I sold, pesticides. But one of the things I also did was I wanted to learn the financial services business. So I became a stockbroker, a sub-broker to 2 or 3 large brokers in Chennai as well as in Indore. And from the brokerage money that I earned, because I actually did public issues of a number of companies, I received brokerage money. And what did I do with that brokerage money? One day, I bought a few shares. I bought a few shares, but one day I saw this beautiful hoarding. How many of you like James Bond here? Everyone. See, all the hands are up now. I saw this hoarding which said, "Meet the new Bond thriller in town." So what did I think? I thought this is the new ad for the James Bond movie. It turned out to be an ad for ITC's bonds. Bonds are debt instruments like fixed deposits. I liked the ad so much that I went and put all that brokerage money into ITC's bonds. So it was a guy standing like this with a gun, but it says, "Meet the new Bond thriller in town." I bought it. What I didn't realize was that it was a convertible bond, meaning in 2 years' time, the bond got converted into shares. So each year, over those 2 years, it would get converted. So for the next 2 years, I started receiving annual reports of ITC. Now, when you're sitting in a place called Vizag, in those days, which had nothing else to do, what would you do with these books? You would start reading them. I started reading voraciously that entire ITC report. That really helped me with that employment we spoke about, because as luck would have it, I was a successful businessman. I told you I was already doing all this stuff. I suddenly passed my CA exam also along with that luck. And I didn't need money because I was doing quite well. I also started a shipping agency also. As luck would have it, I was actually doing all the imports for Hindustan Zinc in India. And I was 24 years old. And one day I get a telegram, "Come for selection board interview to ITC." I said, "Who applied?" I never applied. My mother came and said, "I applied." I said, "Why did you apply for me?" She said, "You don't even read the CA journal. It keeps coming here, right? But in the last page, there's always this advertisement saying, ITC wants finance people." So she applied for me. And as luck would have it, I was called. And the rest of the story is different. I went for a number of interviews, including coming to Calcutta. In that CA attempt, I was the only person selected by ITC across the whole of India, right? And I had no rank, I had nothing. I just had a lot of confidence because I didn't want the job. You understand, I was already making money, I was doing quite well, I didn't want the job, so later the selection board told me, you are the most confident, you seem to know a lot, and how come you know so much about ITC? Because I even pointed out all the errors in that annual report. I said, because I'm the only one who reads your annual report. I was the one getting it, remember? So the key point here is, for me, education resulted in employment, but what helped me thereafter was really my entrepreneurial zeal, because I got into ITC, but if you look at my track record on ITC, I actually helped create every new business of theirs. And I left it in 2002 when I created ITC Infotech for them. I was employee number 2 for them. And from there, I went to a company called Sintel. Has anyone heard of Sintel? IT company. I joined them as their CFO. When I went there, I was told it's a great company doing extremely well, cushy job, no problem. And you will hear it, all you youngsters. When people interview, they'll tell you, great company, cushy job, you don't have to work at all, things will happen. When I went there, I found it was one of the great companies. Pioneer had set up the during the time TCS had set up its company. And over the years, it was actually in downward spiral, right? It was stuck in the wrong model. People were taking pot shots at the company. So I really struggled for those first few years, but I turned the company around in 2 years itself. And in 2 years, I was made Chief Operating Officer and President. And within 3 or 4 years, they made me the CEO. And I took the valuation of that company from $250 or $300 million, it's listed in the US, to $3.5 billion when I left it, right? Very important. But again, it is entrepreneurial zeal. I was operating like as if I was owner of that company, right? And the next assignment is this one, WNS. I'm now running a company called WNS. Who has heard of WNS here? You have, one person. 2. Do you know, okay, more. Do you know how many employees WNS has today? 31,000 people across the globe. Okay, it is one of the largest business process management companies across the world. But when I came in, again, this company, from IT services, I wanted to challenge myself on the BPM side. And I said, can I really turn around another company on this side? So I came here, and this was a case where huge turnaround again required. This company was originally British Airways in India. It used to service British Airways clients, had been bought over by a private equity firm, and had again gone downhill. Somewhere people said, okay, Keshav is available, he will come and turn it around. I came in there. So when I went into WNS, the first question I asked is, what does WNS stand for? You know what some of my employees told me? What? No sales. They said, what? No sales. I said, we got to fix that, right? So we got together, we changed the strategy of the company, we refocused our orientation, we differentiated ourselves. 3 years later, company took off. Then I went back and said to my employees, what does WNS stand for? You know what they said? We never sleep, right? That's going to happen to all of you. And today, 5 years later, this company is delivering the highest revenue growth in the entire industry globally. It has the highest profit margins in the industry globally. What was a market value of $300 million when I came in is today about $1.7 billion. We deliver with 31,000 people, 30 delivery centers, 10 or 11 countries at this point in time. Now when I ask, what does WNS stand for? What do you think people say? We nurture specialists, right? Now, again, I want to again underline, entrepreneurial zeal is the most important quality that people must build in themselves. How many of you know what BPO or BPM now stands for? Can anyone put up their hands? I saw one hand go up there. Yes, please. Yes, please. Say. Loudly, please. Yeah, and what kind of work do you think happens there? Solving problems, giving technical solutions, very good. Anyone else? Anyone else who knows what BPM stands for? Come on, this has to be interactive. Don't worry, there is no right or wrong answer. You are always right. Go ahead. Take a punt. Yeah, but what kind of work is done in this industry? Give me an example. Yeah, speak into the mic.
Managing and optimizing companies.
Managing and optimizing companies. This is a very, very mature audience. Where is Kamal? These guys are extremely smart. They know the actual definition. Very good. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, let me just try and define this industry, a little better. How many of you use Uber or Ola? Lots of hands went up. How many of you use an online travel agency's portal to book your tickets? Does anyone go to travel agent anymore? No hands going up. One hand, oh, he's scratching his head, sorry. One still goes to travel agent. We have to discuss that. And how many of you do your purchases only on these e-commerce sites, Snapdeal and Flipkart? Everybody, right? Everybody, only that, okay. How many of you still visit a shop to choose your trousers or clothes or whatever you do? Very good, don't worry, you also will. Similarly, this actually destroys and demolishes all the myths and inconsistencies that have entered the BPM industry. It actually helps you understand that today you can actually lead a company by the time you're 35 or 40, right? In this industry, you can travel the world, you can have stretch opportunities, you can, meet with CEOs on the other side, and you can make a lot of money, which is also important. So with that, thank you all very much, but spend 2 minutes watching this video, which is created by a number of leaders across the industry. Thank you all and all the very best. We were born in the early 90s as a business process outsourcing or the BPO industry, where companies perform back office, repetitive tasks for large corporations in the US and the UK. Today, the BPM industry is the world's trusted and strategic partner for business growth and profitability. The processes we deliver are tech-enabled and seamlessly integrate with new age technologies. We are harnessing the power of analytics, social media, and automation to create innovative and outcome-based solutions for global corporations. I am extremely proud to say that the BPM industry has catalyzed the growth of innovative ideas, new careers, technologies, and local economies.
The industry has been continuously redefining itself over the last 2 decades, and today, as we speak, the industry has moved from first generation to 6th generation,
Today, this industry employs about 1 million people. And the spectrum of people who've joined this industry, there's a wide variety.
The big thing is for us getting the right workforce. Whether you're a BCom graduate, whether you are a arts graduate or economics graduate, or somebody who's done engineering, or somebody who's been even gone to some school to do some paramedical course.
So you need people with good talent and good skill sets, and the BPM industry will pay for that talent. However, don't worry if you don't have all the specialization and talents, because the BPM industry is one of the best talent schools in India, and we will train people and build them to have this high quality talent.
Intelligence, the humor that each one of you possess is far more than what I would have had when I studied in college. Your exposure and knowledge levels are far superior. I think you are in the right place at the right time.
In summary, that we're looking for is a core skill, a high degree of customer focus, curiosity, and an ever-increasing global outlook.
Join the BPM industry, become world-worthy.
Well, thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Keshav Murugesh for his very, very insightful and inspiring speech. Now, I'd like to request Mr. Kamal Agarwal to please hand over a memento to Mr. Keshav, please. Also, I'd like to call upon stage Mr. Sri Ganesh Parthasarathi, trustee of the Dewang Mehta Foundation, to give a little speech about the Dewang Mehta Excellence Awards, which we'll be presenting very soon. Thank you so much. So.